Hey guys, so I wanted to do a fun video on collaboration knives. And for those of you who follow my channel, you know that I have some custom knives from a few different makers. And a maker that I've been following recently is a French designer, actually, not even a knife maker. His name is Tashi Bharucha. And Tashi, like I said, is primarily a designer. He doesn't make knives for a living, he just does it for fun. But he's done a lot of collaboration pieces with just about every prominent knife maker out there. So if you have a favorite custom knife maker, there is a very good chance that he or she's done a collaboration with Tashi Bharucha. And one of the knife makers that I've been collecting and following for some time is Kirby Lambert. So this year, Kirby and Tashi got together, and they came up with the piece here on the right. And I just thought it would be pretty fun to take a look at a Kirby Lambert, take a look at a Tashi, and kind of like, like a child, just to see whose design cues kind of dominate the piece, or is it truly a solid mixture? And one thing you'll notice about Tashi is that he's all about the line. And one of the I'm going to put a video out of all of my Tashi Bharucha knives. And one of the things that Tashi will freely admit is he's more about the look of the knife. Of course, his knives for fit and finish are fantastic. They do function well, but he designs them primarily to have a certain aesthetic. So most of his collaborations really are you can absolutely tell that, oh, that's a Tashi Bharucha collaboration right there. So I just thought it'd be good to pull out a few different knives and kind of take a look at the styling cues and see what we ended up with here. So on the left hand side right here is a Kirby Lambert Crossroads. And that's a fairly new knife from Kirby. This one, it has all the modern design cues that he's doing now. When you look at this knife, you'll know, bam, that's a Kirby Lambert knife. And, all of his knives do have a certain look to them. So things I'll point out, it has the new flipper. That's a Kirby Lambert flipper. It has the design that he shares with the Augustus. But just this one happens to be in Mokutai. He's doing a lot more now. I have a couple Kirbys that don't have the backspacer in there, but more and more he's doing this backspacer. So that's kind of a Lambert signature backspacer nowadays. You can see the pivot he uses. Okay. That is a Kirby Lambert Crossroads. Okay, let's look at the Tashi. This is a Tashi Bharucha Phoenix. This is a really neat, unique knife. Now, like I said, Tashi does not build a lot of knives, so it's hard to get your hands on these things. And they certainly have a very, very neat look to them. And some Tashi kind of signature features that he has is kind of a wide blade. This one happens to be a flat grind, and you'll see the flipper tab that he puts on his knives are also very unique. And here's what we ended up with. So these two knives put together, I'll close these here so you can see it. Ended up with a knife that was actually built by Kirby. So Kirby Lambert built this knife, and this model is called the Roar. Now this happens to be in Mokutai, but from what I read is they built 10 knives, and 5 of them were going to be liner locks, which is what Kirby does mostly. So Kirby does build some frame locks, but I'd say the majority of his knives are liner locks. Now Tashi builds all his knives like most makers as frame locks. So when they built the Roar model, or Kirby built the Roar model, he was going to release 5 liner locks and 5 frame locks. This one happens to be one of the frame locks. Sorry, we got some good glare there from the lights. There is the Tashi logo. There is the frame lock. Okay, so let's open them all up and see what we got. So the first thing is, it really looks like a Tashi. When you first start, you eyeball this knife, you can see this is a very signature Tashi feature right here. And then the flipper tab, right away, if you see flipper tabs, you'll see that's a Tashi. So your first instinct might be, hey, this is a really heavily Tashi influenced knife. And it is, because you look at these two and very, aesthetically they're very similar. But a couple things that are signature Kirby are, Kirby's known for his blade grind. So if you look at this, now this happens to be a multi-grind here. But true to the Tashi blade, a nice thick blade, but that's a very Kirby Lambert grind right there. Another thing that I think is very Kirby Lambert is the bottom of the knife. So this is very Tashi Bharucha up here, but the bottom of the knife, and I'm going to raise this up here so you can see it, has a very Kirby Lambert bottom to the knife. And another thing that's very similar to his other knives would be the backspacer here and the clip. Now, when Kirby does do a frame lock, which he has, he will use the hinder overstop. So that is a Lambert feature, because I don't think I've seen a Tashi knife with that. But you can see, look at there, that's very Tashi Bharucha. But again, this clip is signature Kirby Lambert. And most of Tashi's knives come to a point at the end. I don't know if they all do, but I think that's a very, very common styling feature. So there you have it. Kirby Lambert Crossroads, Kirby Lambert built, Tashi Bharucha designed Roar, and a Tashi Bharucha Phoenix. You can judge for yourself if you think that there is more influence from Kirby or Tashi. But I gotta tell you, I think it's pretty evenly done. I think on first glance, it's very Tashi Bharucha, just like most of his knives. But I think Kirby did a great job, kind of putting in his own style and his own influences, and why not? He's the one who built the knife, right? Well, guys, I hope you found that interesting. I appreciate you watching, and I will have a video later on featuring all my Tashi Bharucha knives, because I am kind of into his knives right now. They're not easy to get. He doesn't build a lot of them, so that's kind of why it's been delayed trying to acquire a few pieces. But I appreciate you watching the video. Thanks.